like rabies is like now its own a rabid animal. You know,
Right.
you think of it's so visceral.
Right.
It's going to come at you with its infected saliva. I almost went with the rabies scenario because I always, in these scenarios, tie them to actual events that have happened so that readers don't go like, this is Annie Jacobsen's dystopian imagination, as much as they say, oh, she's following what, science. This is science fact, not science fiction. And so when I learned about that plan for the genetic modification of rabies in chicken, airborne rabies, but then I thought,
how far did she get along with this?
that is classified, Annie. But I did get a second person, David Relman, who's the advisor to the president on biodefense, to confirm with me that was actually located in her handbag and caused serious concern.
Oh, now imagine if they never found her, they never caught her, and she completed that.
I mean, it's really terrifying.
It wipes out most of the country.
And also just in the most horrific way. I mean, having to look at your pet and be like, is my pet rabbit? It's just...
Oh, Jesus. And it could catch it too?
Another project.
Oh, she had another project?
Yeah, multiple projects, apparently.
She had collected materials on viruses for biological warfare, and one of her projects is finding its way to infect America's poultry supplies with an antibody that would allow chickens to pass salmonella onto humans more easily. She later destroyed her work after suspecting Abu Lubab was hoping to double-cross her and turn her into the United States authorities.
This is a long Wikipedia with quite a bit of twists and turns. Yeah. I'm surprised it's not a movie. There's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. And that's one person that we caught. Now, that's not like this is the only time they thought of that. This is the only person that they tried to recruit to do this kind of stuff. There's probably someone out there right now, hence the book.
I mean, I interviewed this guy, very famous, legendary CIA officer named Rolf Moat Larsen, and he led the counter WMD team, right? So he would go to places basically like with a bunch of ground branch guys, CIA paramilitary guys behind him. He was kind of like the intelligentsia at the front to try to negotiate with Al-Qaeda weapons makers, biological weapons makers, and say, like, you can't do this. It's going to kill all of us. And he told me a couple stories, and I write them like history lessons in the book. Once he went to Sudan and met with the top biological weapons maker for Al-Qaeda. And, it's just chilling. It's basically, you get the feeling like that Rolf said, I got them to agree to stop temporarily. Temporarily. Sorry, Joe. This is the nightmare stuff.
So what do they think that they're going to do if they get into these bunkers? This is the thing. It's like if society completely collapses and anarchy just sweeps the nation and you've got cities on fire and people killing people and looting, eventually they're going to run out of food. Eventually there's going to be no infrastructure. You've got no power. You've got no one who's taking care of the water. No one's taking care of the satellites. No one's taking care of anything. The cell phone towers are down. What are these people in the bunker going to do? Are they going to reinvent society?
Well, that's the plan down the road. But before...
Do they have that? Do they have
Part 5 of the devolution plan is called reconstitution.
Oh, Jesus.
So they're going to reconstitute the government, like rise again like a phoenix from the ashes. But before that, I also learned the government has issued, the Pentagon has issued 1.7 million gas masks to its personnel. So they fan out across the states. But they can not really handle the numbers of people who are actually going to die pretty quickly. So instead, what their job is to protect the critical infrastructure. All that stuff you exactly mentioned.
So they're just assuming that most people are going to die.
Yeah. I mean, this is the quote. This is the exact quote from Colonel Tom Ehrhardt, who ran catastrophic nuclear and biological war games at the Pentagon. Or have you ever heard of a very famous guy? They called him Yoda at the Pentagon. He died like a couple years ago at age 100. His name is Andy Marshall.
No.
He ran the Office of Net Assessment. Talk about a euphemism, or a cloaked. That's where they did all the wargaming. And Andy Marshall did this in the 70s all the way through his recent death. And Tom Ehrhardt worked for him. It's in the office of the Secretary of Defense. So what Ehrhardt told me is, in the event of a biological catastrophe, and by the way, that includes not just an attack, but an incident. And an incident means a lab leak. Okay? So in the event of a catastrophic biological incident, there is very little you can do to protect the homeland. Only things you can do to mitigate extermination.
Of the human race?
That's his quote.
Mitigate extermination.
Mitigate extermination.
So you want to keep as many people alive as possible, but it's probably going to be a very small amount.
And it's probably just going to be the 1.7 people with the gas mask and a whole bunch of like Machiavellian solipsists.
Do you imagine if our society had to be invented with only people that work in the government? Can you imagine
and
some of the most incompetent, crooked people in the world, and that's the new society?
Well, I have a feeling most of the bureaucrats would die because I don't think they could, take care of themselves, right? I think the people that would live would be those well-trained soldiers.
Well, that's not bad. That's probably a better scenario.
But the other problem you're looking at is reproduction because there's 17% females in the military.
That's not good.
That's not good. And then the other problem is that the other people who are left that are not in the military imagine the skills you have to be able to like deal with fear of infection in a manner that you basically have to be able to, as it was said to me, kill people on sight, like not even worrying about whether. This is where it really feels like The Walking Dead or,
Right.
an apocalyptic movie.
28 Days Later was based on that. 28 Days Later was a lab leak.
Yes, that's
Remember it was called Rage? It was something they were doing with chimpanzees, and a
That's right.
chimpanzee bites somebody,
That's how it opens.
and it spreads.
Those are great films. Those are great.
That
Did you see the
movie's
new
amazing. No, I haven't seen the new one.
Oh, the new one. Parts 1 and 2. I mean,
There's parts 1 and 2 of
yeah,
the new ones?
yeah.
Oh, it's a two-parter?
Two-parter. They release them like 6 months apart.
Oh, God.
They're incredible. I mean,
Just get worn out from those kind of movies.
I mean, it's a certain.
They're
You have
so
to have a certain.
bleak.
Yeah.
There's no happy ending.
I mean, Joe, I'm an eternal optimist. Believe
Are
it or
you
not,
really?
I really am.
That's crazy,
I
considering
am.
your work.
But I just figure all of this is a cautionary tale, and I also figure it's better to know than to
Well,
be
it's
caught
better
off
to
guard.
inform, and I think you do an amazing job of that, and I think you're a very important person in that regard. You inform people of these things that you really should be considering. I mean, your nuclear war book freaked a lot of people out that were kind of, nuclear war was in the back of their mind. Yeah, it's a possibility, but hey, we haven't done it. We dropped a couple of bombs during the World War II, and that's it. We're done with that.
You said something to me last time we spoke about the nuclear war book that really stayed with me, and it has an interesting coda. So you were like, Annie, I couldn't read Nuclear War. It freaked out a lot of my friends. I can't read it. And then you explained why. And you said, I'm paraphrasing you, but you said, I think about those people at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they were just going about their daily life, and all of a sudden, they're incinerated. That really stayed with me. And I thought about it. Here's the coda. The survivors are called hibakusha. That's what they call themselves. It's like survivors of the nuclear bomb. So now, since it was 80 years ago, they're all like 81 to 90 plus. And they were stigmatized throughout their youth because the idea was you're radioactive, you can't reproduce, you're sort of, there's like a malignant thing attached to you. This is what they told me. And I met them, and I was invited to Hiroshima to be the keynote speaker with the hibakusha for the 80th anniversary of the bombing.
What did they say the experience was like in terms of being maligned? Like what was happening?
Well, the sense I got was very much that they believed that was accurate. They had no other information. They had no other information other than people telling them,
That they were radioactive.
Yeah. Now, what was also interesting is a couple of the younger people who don't remember, who were like infants, their mothers, like let's say one parent died and another, so the living parent would shield them from that by never telling them that they were hibakusha. So then they had this whole other kind of realization later in life when they learned. And those stories were like incredible because you're learning about how like a parent's love for a child means not telling them what you think would make them feel stigmatized. But yet them explaining to me that they felt that stigma throughout their life anyways, not knowing why.
I never even would have considered that stigma. I would have considered survivor's guilt, which people do have if you're a part of a disaster and you're one of the ones that lived.
Yeah.